Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Bear Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. I am your host, Chris Maltby, and I am back at it again with episode 3 and my second episode overall of Uncut, the brand new series on this channel where we basically just break down a specific topic regarding the Bears in a 5 to 10 minute video. It's a nice way to get our thoughts out quicker than we would in a normal podcast. So today, we're going to be talking about why the Bears should draft Brycen Hopkins. I'm basically going to make a case for Brycen Hopkins. So let's just get right into it. It's officially time to talk tight ends in Chicago. The door closed about a month ago on tight ends when the Bears agreed to terms on a 2-year deal worth $18 million with former Packers tight end Jimmy Graham. But that door has very much so reopened following the release of Trey Burton on Friday afternoon. While Burton's release has come as a surprise to many, I voiced my opinion on it earlier in the week, saying I thought that the Bears were going to move on from him. I didn't think they were going to cut him. I thought they were going to trade him in the draft, but maybe they couldn't find any interest in him, so they ended up cutting him. No one knows the exact reason why General Manager Ryan Pace let go of the 28-year-old tight end, previously known for the Philly special pass to now Bears quarterback Nick Foles. But the Bears were able to get an inside look on Burton's long and stressful recovery from multiple groin injuries, as well as a sports hernia surgery that held him out most of the entire 2019 season, and obviously the 2018 wildcard game against the Philadelphia Eagles. They're set to eat $7.5 million of Burton's dead cap this offseason, but it'll save them $17.4 million over the next 2 seasons moving on from him now. And the Chicago Sun-Times were the one that was on that. So no one knows what was up with Burton, really. He might have had some mental stuff in there, too. I've seen people put online. I've never seen a player with a groin in his head. But obviously, Pace does everything he does with conviction, whether it be moving up in the draft, whether it be trading for Nick Foles, whether it be hopefully soon signing Allen Robinson to an extension. So clearly he had conviction when he made this move and thought it was proper to do it now, designated as a post-June 1 cut. When it comes to replacing Burton, we must look towards the upcoming NFL draft. The Bears possess 2 second-round picks, and depending on how the board falls, they'll be able to pick out of a majority of players, all at positions of need. This opens up the perfect opportunity for the Bears to select a tight end early on to work alongside Jimmy Graham and tight ends coach Clancy Barone for the next couple of years and hopefully groom the tight end for the future of this team. Now let's take a deeper look at Purdue's Brycen Hopkins, someone who I think is a budding talent and really could be the next tight end to don the navy and orange in 2020. I think he's really the right guy. So let's get right into Hopkins. First and foremost, the Bears have shown a clear interest in Hopkins since the start of this draft process. I mean, you think as long as you're meeting with a player 3 times, that tends to be pretty significant. The Bears met with Hopkins reportedly during the week of the Senior Bowl, a confirmed meeting during the NFL Scouting Combine, and most recently a confirmed meeting when they conducted a video call with the former Purdue Boilermaker. That does seem pretty important, whether you like it or not. That's not all to mention about Hopkins, the projected 4th to 5th round draft pick on NFL.com. He also showed progression throughout his 4 years at Purdue and proved to be a legitimate receiving threat. Not only did he average 13.6 yards per catch during his senior season in West Lafayette, but he was also the second highest in receiving totals on the team, ending 2019 with 61 receptions for 870 yards and 7 touchdowns during his senior season. He only had 9 touchdowns during his first 3 seasons combined and really took off during his senior year, which is something good heading into the NFL draft, obviously. He's 6'5", 245 pounds, and he showed off even more athleticism at the NFL Combine, as he had 21 reps on the bench press and also a 33.5-inch broad jump, and he already has a really impressive resume heading into that. He has a substantial knowledge of the route tree and doesn't essentially need to create space in order to go up to make catches. He's done it in contested coverage in the past, and he really isn't scared of taking a hit in the open field. Well, it seems like in recent months, Hopkins has fallen on some draft boards. He's someone that I've mentioned throughout time with Cole Kmet. He still presents an intriguing option for the Bears, which it could include trading down from the 50th pick in the forthcoming NFL draft. This would allow for the team to get someone in the second round and still recoup more picks for Ryan Pace to work with. If we look at this draft, there's a lot of people in the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds that are really intriguing options. I especially think of a wide receiver, someone that we could trade down, get another pick, get Hopkins, and also pick up a wide receiver so we can maybe focus on secondary or the offensive line with our 2nd-round pick and not have to pick someone like that there. So Hopkins also presents that option if the Bears would like to trade down. And overall, Ryan Pace picking more is always a good thing. He's hit on a lot of late-round players, so that's always a good thing. Drafting a tight end seems like a royalty this year, but it's something important that the Bears do because the positional group in 2019 was absolutely porous and disappointing. They need to improve in 2020. 24/7 Sports gave them a grade of an F. They only mustered up 416 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns during a disappointing 2019 season. Things are already looking more promising this year following the addition of Jimmy Graham, but all eyes seem to be on Ryan Pace as he heads into what may be the most important draft of his 5 years as Bears general manager. That's all the notes I had for this one, guys. I'm not going to end it, though. I'm going to give a little bit of my insight on this one. Personally, I think it's inevitable that the Bears choose a tight end in this draft. I mentioned that it might look like a royalty for some, but I think breeding someone for 2 years behind Jimmy Graham is undoubtedly a good decision. And I think Brycen Hopkins is someone, he's been a receiving threat. That's something that we definitely need in this offense. He's not scared to take a hit. He can make contested catches. He may not be the fastest. He's a decent blocker. There's stuff to improve on. I think we have the right staff to improve him in Chicago with Clancy Barone and Jimmy Graham also being there. He'll have time to sit and improve, but hopefully down the road he's someone who could be a premier tight end in Chicago. That's obviously what we're looking for. Looking that he's going to be a 4th to 5th round pick, I also think it very much opens up the possibility of trading down. 3 guys I think the Bears could trade down for. I think if they're staying in the 2nd round, I think they take Kmet if he's there. But if they're trading down, I think the 3 people you're looking at now are Adam Troutman, Thaddeus Moss, Albert O, I don't know how to say his last name, and Hopkins. There's some good options there late, whether it's Hopkins or not. Personally, I think there's a lot of good tight ends in this draft. I think the Bears will end up selecting someone. We'll see who it is next week. Obviously, this is coming out on the weekend, but it should be a really interesting situation, and I think Hopkins is someone that Pace should definitely keep his eye on. So that's pretty much going to do it for episode 3 of Uncut. About 7.5 minutes there. A quickie for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying these types of episodes on the channel. That'll pretty much do it for me, though. You can follow my fan page on Instagram at DashaiBearsNews, and you can also follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at BearDown. If you would like more content from me and the entire team here at Bear Down Media, please check out beardown.com because we're putting in a ton of work on columns, articles, blogs, whatever you want to call them, to get you guys some great draft insight for this next week, gearing up for the NFL Draft. Once again, I am your host, Chris Maltby. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe, and as always, Chicago, Bear Down. Peace.